Hi, Chris Stebnitz of Stebnitz Builders. We're out at the Reed residence, and I'll just show you a little bit what's going on with the house here. This is a project we talking about in our blog that we're redoing their siding. We took off the cedar siding and going with the Louisiana Pacific's SmartSide siding, and you can see kind of what condition the house was in underneath that siding. Things that we uncover after we open things up. One of the things we'll show here in another segment is the rot that we found because of some poor flashing and preparation with how things were installed, and causing rot, decay, loss of heat. So we'll get into that in just a minute. We'll just kind of take a look around this house here. That's kind of what we're dealing with after all the cedar siding was torn off. Let's take a look at the front of the house. Alright, we're out at the front of the house of the Reed home, and you can see all the stuff we've torn off. You'll notice up in the eave there, it's some of that water damage that we're going to be fixing, and we're repairing that area there. And here's a side view of the Reed home. Again, all prepped, ready for siding. And then we will be doing the garage here, the detached garage. It's a really neat house. The backyard is a nice fenced-in backyard with a nice porch coming off the back of the house and on the second story here. So when this gets done, this is really going to be a nice touch to this house. All right, let's get a hold of Scott and see what he's doing today. All right, we're out here with Scott Bray, the lead carpenter for the project, and what you're looking at is that chimney chase that from in the blog shows the rot that was caused by poor flashing, etc. And I'll let Scott explain what he's done here so far to fix this up.
Well, when we started tearing it apart, the chimney didn't look bad to start with, but when we got to peeling the siding off, realized that the roof flashings were dumping water behind the siding, and the sheeting on the chase was totally shot, and quite a bit of the framing had been damaged. So we basically, without totally tearing the chimney off, we carefully peeled it apart and fixed up and replaced a bunch of the framing. Got it all back solid and substantial, and re-insulated the floor. We've got to re-insulate that chase. It actually never was insulated. We're going to try and do as much as we can to stop air infiltration and get it sealed back up, and then the roof is going to come off and we'll get it flashed properly so we won't have problems in the future.
That's great, Scott. Now, you're telling me you reframed this to match what it was doing before, correct?
Yeah, it was because it ties in at the floor level in the house and it has to be extended down, so we matched the heights with our siding at the bottom. There's a little extra framing underneath the floor. I kind of replicated what had been there before, so we'd stay nice and solid, and braced it back off of the wall so everything it's cantilevered in, and we're still supporting the nose of it so everything stays up and stays solid. Great.
Now, you also mentioned about insulation. What are your thoughts? How much heat loss is really getting out of there before we got here?
I think there was probably pretty substantial, because the floor never was insulated, and it actually has a raised hearth in the interior of the home. So that was a cold cavity on the outside which extended into the living area of the home, and we've now insulated it, which will stop that. And then the wall above the fireplace is actually insulated, but there's no protection from air infiltration around the firebox, and we're going to put insulation in there and then the house wrap on it and get some of that minimized.
Awesome. Let's get around the front of the house and let's take a look at those eaves.